Some nights are ordinary because the heart is not ready. Other nights are quiet because the heart is being prepared. The 15th night belongs to the second kind. It does not arrive to excite the senses, but to correct the inner scale. Nothing dramatic is required for its work to begin. It enters when the heart is no longer chasing answers and has begun to listen instead. This night carries no command, no announcement, and no demand. It simply reveals where the heart stands, not by judgment, but by awareness. There are moments when life slows, not because something has gone wrong, but because something essential is being revealed. The heart is rarely measured while it is rushing. Movement creates momentum, and momentum hides imbalance. When the 15th night arrives, it carries a quiet pause into the inner world. This pause is not forced, it is felt. Effort softens, urgency loosens, and the heart is given a rare chance to sense its own state without distraction. When motion pauses, the heart becomes aware of its own weight. Not physical weight, but inner weight. The weight of intentions, habits, attachments, and patterns that have been shaping it silently. As long as the heart is moving forward constantly, it cannot tell whether it is moving in balance or being pulled by repetition. The pause interrupts this automatic movement. It creates a moment where the heart can feel whether it has been walking freely or being dragged. This measurement does not happen through judgment or analysis. The heart is not asked to list its mistakes or defend its choices. It is simply allowed to feel. Feeling reveals more truth than reasoning ever could. A balanced heart feels calm when stillness arrives. An imbalanced heart feels restless. This restlessness is not condemnation, it is information. It shows where motion has been covering misalignment. The 15th night offers this pause gently. It does not stop life externally. People may still sleep, speak, or carry on as usual. The pause happens inwardly. The heart notices a subtle quiet where noise used to be. In that quiet, effort relaxes. The constant need to push, manage, or control softens. When effort relaxes, the heart stops pretending. It stops performing. What remains is what is real. In this stillness, the heart recognizes whether it has been acting from balance or habit. Habit moves without awareness. Balance moves with alignment. Habit feels familiar, but heavy. Balance feels simple but light. The heart can tell the difference immediately when motion stops. There is no confusion, there is only recognition. This recognition does not feel harsh, it does not accuse, it feels honest. Honesty is gentle when it is not resisted. The heart sees itself clearly without needing to explain or justify. This is why the pause is so important. Without pause, honesty feels threatening. With pause, honesty feels relieving. Many hearts fear stillness because they believe stillness will expose them. In truth, stillness does not expose to shame. It exposes to clarity. Clarity is not punishment, it is guidance. The heart does not need to be pushed toward truth. It moves toward truth naturally when noise fades. The 15th night creates a space where momentum settles. Momentum is powerful, but it is also blinding. When you are carried by momentum, you rarely question direction. You assume movement equals progress. This night gently interrupts that assumption. It asks the heart, without words, whether movement has been guided by awareness or habit. In this pause, the heart may notice subtle discomfort. This discomfort is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of sensitivity returning. Sensitivity allows the heart to feel what it has been ignoring. Ignoring does not remove imbalance, it delays awareness of it. The pause removes delay. The heart may also feel relief. Relief comes when alignment has been maintained quietly. This relief is subtle but steady. It feels like ease without explanation. This ease confirms that the heart has been moving in harmony more than it realized. The pause affirms what is already right, not only what needs adjustment. This is why the measurement of the heart is not frightening, it is accurate. Accuracy brings peace. The heart prefers truth over illusion, even when truth requires change. Illusion requires constant maintenance. Truth requires only acceptance. When the heart recognizes itself without resistance, correction becomes natural. There is no need for vows or dramatic resolutions. Awareness alone shifts direction. The heart adjusts as a compass adjusts when interference is removed. The pause removes interference. The 15th night does not demand action. It offers orientation. Orientation precedes action. Action without orientation leads to exhaustion. Orientation without force leads to sustainable change. This night restores orientation quietly. The heart that allows this pause does not become passive. It becomes precise. Precision reduces wasted effort. Wasted effort is a major source of fatigue. When fatigue lifts, sincerity strengthens. Sincerity strengthens alignment. This pause also teaches the heart something essential. It does not need constant motion to be valuable. Being still does not mean being behind. Sometimes stillness is how the heart catches up with itself. Catching up feels grounding. Grounding restores stability. The heart that experiences this pause learns to recognize imbalance earlier in the future. Sensitivity improves. The heart becomes more responsive and less reactive. This is one of the hidden gifts of the 15th night. It trains awareness without instruction. Nothing dramatic needs to happen for this lesson to be complete. No visions, no signs, just a quiet knowing. The heart knows whether it feels lighter or heavier in stillness. That knowing is enough. This lesson is not limited to one night. It teaches a principle. Whenever motion pauses, truth becomes visible. Whenever truth becomes visible, correction becomes possible. The 15th night simply makes this principle easier to access. Let this pause do its work without interference. Do not rush to interpret it. Interpretation belongs to the mind. Recognition belongs to the heart. The heart already understands what this pause is showing it. The heart has a quiet habit of carrying what it believes it must endure alone. It learns early that strength means not complaining, that sincerity means not drawing attention to fatigue, and that patience means continuing even when weight accumulates. Over time, this silent carrying becomes normal. The heart does not announce its burden, it adjusts to it. And because it adjusts, the weight goes unnoticed. The 15th night creates a rare condition where this silent weight begins to speak. Not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. What has been held without expression finds a moment of recognition. Fatigue may surface without a clear cause. Heaviness may be felt without a recent trigger. Confusion may rise even though nothing outward seems wrong. These are not disruptions, they are signals. Signals do not accuse, they inform. The heart is not being judged for what it carried, it is being acknowledged. Acknowledgement is often the first relief the heart has felt in a long time. When something is finally seen, it no longer needs to press from within. Silent burdens often form because the heart believes endurance equals worth. It assumes that if it can carry more, it should. This belief is not cruelty, it is devotion misunderstood. The heart wants to be faithful, reliable, and sincere. But sincerity without release becomes strain. Strain without awareness becomes heaviness. On this night, the heart is not asked to justify its fatigue. It is not questioned about why it feels tired or why it has grown heavy. There is no interrogation. There is only permission. Permission for what has been carried silently to be felt openly. This permission changes everything. The heart does not need solutions in this moment. It needs recognition. Recognition allows the heart to stop bracing. Bracing consumes energy. When bracing ends, energy returns naturally. What speaks on this night is not always specific memories or clear thoughts. Often, it is a feeling tone, a sense of too much, a sense of long enough, a sense of I have been holding this for a while. These feelings are not weakness, they are awareness re-entering the heart. The heart has its own language. It does not speak in arguments or explanations. It speaks through sensation, tightness, softness, relief, weight. When these sensations appear, they are communicating. Listening does not mean fixing. It means allowing the message to complete itself. Many people resist this moment because they fear that if they allow fatigue to be felt, it will overwhelm them. In truth, suppression is what overwhelms. Allowing a feeling to surface often reduces its intensity. What has been buried feels heavy. What is acknowledged feels lighter. The 15th night offers a safe container for this acknowledgement. The heart feels less exposed because the outer world is quiet. There is less demand to perform or explain. In this quiet, the heart can afford honesty. Silent burdens also include unspoken grief, delayed disappointment, unresolved expectation, and patience stretched beyond comfort. These do not disappear because they were carried well. They wait. Waiting is not failure. It is postponement. This night ends postponement gently. When these burdens speak, the heart may feel vulnerable. Vulnerability here is not danger. It is openness without defense. Defense is exhausting. Openness conserves energy. Energy conserved allows healing to begin. The heart is not asked to relive everything it carried. It is simply asked to notice that it carried something. That noticing alone reduces pressure. Pressure comes from invisibility. Visibility releases it. Being seen does not always require another person. Sometimes the heart only needs to be seen by awareness itself. When awareness turns inward without judgment, the heart feels accompanied. Loneliness eases. Loneliness often intensifies burden more than the burden itself. The 15th night also corrects a misunderstanding, that endurance must always be silent. Endurance can be quiet, but it does not have to be invisible. The heart learns that it is allowed to feel the cost of its patience. Feeling the cost does not cancel sincerity, it honors it. This night teaches the heart that release does not require collapse. You do not need to break to let go. You only need to be honest. Honesty loosens what force cannot. As silent burdens speak, the heart may realize that some weight does not belong to it anymore. It may notice that certain responsibilities were assumed unnecessarily. Others may have been carried out of loyalty or fear. Recognition allows redistribution. The heart gives back what it cannot hold indefinitely. Release does not always feel dramatic. Often it feels like breath returning, like tension easing from the chest, like mental noise softening. These small shifts indicate that the message has been received. This lesson also prepares the heart for future endurance. A heart that knows how to acknowledge burden does not accumulate it excessively. It releases earlier. Early release prevents collapse. The 15th night does not remove difficulty from life. It removes the isolation of carrying it alone. Isolation is what turns weight into suffering. Connection turns weight into experience. When the heart allows what it has carried silently to speak, it becomes more compassionate toward itself. Self-compassion restores balance. Balance restores clarity. Nothing needs to be resolved immediately after this recognition. The heart simply needs to rest in being seen. Rest is not avoidance. It is integration. Integration allows the heart to reorganize itself without pressure. This lesson teaches that strength is not silent suffering. Strength is the ability to recognize when something has been held long enough. Recognition is wisdom, not weakness. Let what speaks be heard without interruption. Do not analyze it, do not argue with it. Just allow it to exist long enough to finish its sentence. When it finishes, it will quiet naturally. The 15th night gives the heart this gift because the heart has earned honesty through endurance. Honesty is the reward of patience when patience is no longer required. Much of the heart's exhaustion does not come from effort itself, but from effort applied in the wrong direction. Striving becomes heavy when it is no longer aligned. The heart continues to push, to try, to maintain, not because clarity is present, but because momentum has taken over. Over time, this striving feels necessary, even noble, yet it quietly drains the heart. The 15th night introduces a different movement. It does not ask the heart to try harder. It allows alignment to return so striving can finally rest. Alignment is not something the heart must create. It is something the heart remembers when resistance softens. Striving, on the other hand, is learned. It develops when the heart believes it must force outcomes, prove sincerity, or earn peace through constant effort. This belief is subtle. It disguises itself as responsibility or devotion. Yet the heart was never designed to live in permanent strain. Strain is a signal that alignment has been lost. On the 15th night, this truth becomes noticeable without explanation. The heart feels the difference between pushing and flowing. Pushing feels tense, urgent, and heavy. Flow feels calm, steady, and clear. The heart recognizes which state it has been living in, not through thought, but through sensation. Sensation does not lie. It reveals alignment immediately. When alignment returns, striving loses its grip naturally. There is no dramatic decision to stop. The heart simply feels less compelled to force. Effort becomes measured instead of frantic. Action becomes deliberate instead of reactive. This shift feels like relief, but it is deeper than comfort. It is correction. Alignment also simplifies. What belongs becomes obvious. What does not belong no longer demands attention. The heart stops carrying what it never needed to hold. This release does not feel like loss. It feels like lightness returning to places that were tense for too long. Many hearts fear that without striving, nothing will move forward. This fear confuses effort with alignment. Alignment does not create stagnation, it creates efficiency. When the heart is aligned, less effort produces more clarity. More clarity produces better movement. Movement guided by alignment conserves energy rather than draining it. On this night, the heart learns that striving was not strength, it was compensation. Compensation for uncertainty, fear, or misdirection. Once alignment returns, compensation is no longer needed. The heart no longer has to overcorrect. It rests into its natural rhythm. Alignment also restores trust. When striving dominates, the heart feels alone in its effort. It believes everything depends on its constant management. Alignment dissolves this illusion. The heart feels supported again. Supported hearts do not rush. They move with confidence rather than anxiety. This is why striving fades quietly on the 15th night. The heart realizes it does not need to convince reality of its sincerity. Sincerity is felt, not proven. When sincerity is genuine, it aligns naturally with what is meant to unfold. Forcing disrupts this alignment. Alignment also brings discernment. The heart becomes less divided. Conflicting desires quiet. Inner debate softens. The heart stops negotiating with itself constantly. This inner peace is not laziness. It is coherence. Coherent hearts act decisively without struggle. The 15th night does not remove challenges. It removes unnecessary resistance. Resistance multiplies difficulty. Alignment reduces it. Difficulty faced with alignment feels purposeful. Difficulty faced with striving feels punishing. The heart can tell the difference instantly. Another sign of alignment returning is the easing of urgency. Urgency is a product of fear. Alignment produces patience. Patience here is not delay, it is confidence in timing. The heart no longer panics about outcomes, it focuses on presence. When alignment replaces striving, the heart stops fighting itself. Self-criticism diminishes. Comparison loses relevance. The heart no longer measures its worth by effort alone. Worth feels intrinsic again. This recognition heals deeply. Alignment also changes how the heart approaches devotion and reflection. What once felt heavy becomes gentle. Practices feel supportive rather than demanding. The heart shows up willingly rather than out of obligation. Willingness sustains what obligation exhausts. The heart may notice that certain struggles were maintained out of habit, not necessity. Struggle had become familiar, so release felt unfamiliar. Alignment introduces unfamiliar ease. Ease may initially feel suspicious. The heart wonders if something is missing. Over time, it recognizes that nothing essential has been lost. Only tension has. This lesson also teaches the heart of humility. It learns that not all effort was useful, and that is not a failure. It is learning. Learning allows growth. Growth allows refinement. Refinement is quieter than ambition. It focuses on precision rather than expansion. The 15th night favors refinement. It sharpens alignment, so future effort is cleaner and less draining. The heart that experiences alignment understands that striving was never the goal. Alignment was. Striving was a temporary response to misalignment. Once alignment returns, striving retires. This shift is not permanent by default. The heart may return to striving if awareness fades, but now it knows the difference. Knowing allows quicker correction next time. Awareness shortens unnecessary struggle. Alignment also restores joy. Joy does not come from success alone. It comes from moving in harmony. Harmony feels good even before outcomes appear. The heart begins to enjoy the process again. This lesson is gentle but profound. It tells the heart it does not need to push life into place. It needs to listen. Listening reveals direction. Direction reduces effort. The 15th night offers this correction because it interrupts momentum long enough for alignment to be felt. Once felt, the heart does not forget it easily. It remembers what ease feels like. Let striving rest without guilt. It served its purpose. Now alignment takes its place. Alignment does not demand perfection. It requires honesty. When honesty returns, the heart stops pretending. When pretending ends, peace begins. The heart is always leaning on something, even when it believes it stands alone. Reliance is not a choice the heart makes once, it is a posture it adopts over time. Slowly, often without awareness, the heart places weight on what feels stable, familiar, or reassuring. This may be a person, a role, an identity, a routine, or even one's own strength. None of these are wrong in themselves, but when the heart leans too heavily on what cannot truly carry it, strain begins to form. Most of the time, this strain is tolerated rather than questioned. The heart adjusts, it compensates. It tells itself that tiredness is normal, that tension is part of responsibility, that unease is simply the cost of living. Because reliance shifts gradually, the heart rarely notices when it has begun to lean beyond what is healthy. The 15th night introduces a subtle correction. It does not remove what the heart relies on. It reveals how much weight has been placed there. Where reliance is sound, there is ease. Where reliance is excessive, there is tension. The heart feels this immediately, not as a thought, but as a sensation. Tightness, pressure, or fatigue point to where the heart has been asking too much from something limited. This revelation does not feel like loss. It feels like honesty. The heart realizes that some supports were never meant to carry ultimate weight. They were meant to assist, not replace deeper grounding. This realization protects the heart from collapse. Collapse happens when reliance is not adjusted early. When reliance is redirected, it is not taken away abruptly. The heart is guided gently toward balance. It learns to distribute weight rather than concentrate it. What once carried everything now carries only what it can sustain. This redistribution brings relief without requiring abandonment. The heart also learns something humbling in this moment. It recognizes that even self-reliance has limits. Strength that never rests becomes brittle. Control that never releases becomes anxiety. The 15th night softens these tendencies. It shows the heart that constant self-holding is not wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when to loosen the grip. This redirection often feels like subtle disappointment at first. The heart realizes that something it trusted cannot deliver what it hoped for. Yet this disappointment is merciful. It prevents deeper dependence. It prevents the heart from building its foundation on what will eventually shift. As reliance is corrected, the heart feels lighter, not because it has lost support, but because it has stopped demanding too much from the wrong places. Ease returns not through gain, but through adjustment. This lesson also restores inner dignity. The heart no longer feels embarrassed by its need for support. It understands that needing support is not weakness. Misplacing support is what creates suffering. Correct placement restores stability. The 15th night does not shame the heart for leaning incorrectly. It simply shows where leaning has become strain. Seeing is enough. Once seen, the heart naturally corrects its posture. Corrected reliance also sharpens clarity. When the heart is no longer burdened by unrealistic expectations of people, outcomes, or itself, it sees more clearly. Clarity reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety restores trust. Trust here does not mean blind optimism. It means appropriate reliance. The heart learns to rest where rest is safe and to act where action is required. This balance prevents exhaustion. Another quiet change occurs as reliance is redirected. Resentment softens. Resentment often forms when the heart expects what cannot be given. When expectations adjust, resentment dissolves without confrontation. Peace returns where tension once lived. This redirection also prepares the heart for deeper sincerity. A heart that is not over-leveraged can give freely without depletion. Giving from balance feels nourishing rather than draining. The 15th night teaches this lesson gently because harsh correction would create fear. Fear tightens reliance rather than correcting it. Gentleness allows the heart to relax and adjust willingly. Nothing dramatic needs to happen for this lesson to complete. The heart simply notices where ease increases and where strain decreases. These changes indicate that reliance has been recalibrated. Once the heart experiences the relief of corrected reliance, it becomes more attentive in the future. It notices earlier when leaning becomes strain. Early awareness prevents deeper imbalance. This lesson is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging life with realism. Realistic reliance is peaceful. Unrealistic reliance is exhausting. As reliance is quietly redirected, the heart becomes steadier. Steadiness restores confidence. Confidence reduces urgency. Reduced urgency allows alignment to deepen further. The heart does not need to announce this correction. It is felt inwardly as calm replacing tension. That calm is the sign that reliance has found its proper place. The heart often imagines mercy as something dramatic, something that must arrive with a clear sign, a strong feeling, or a decisive moment. It waits for a wave of relief, a sudden certainty, or a visible turning point. Because of this expectation, mercy that arrives quietly is often overlooked. The 15th night corrects this misunderstanding by showing the heart that mercy prefers subtlety. It enters without sound, without announcement, and without demanding attention. On this night, mercy does not argue with the heart. It does not confront it or list its shortcomings. It simply changes the inner atmosphere. Tension that has been present for a long time softens without explanation. A heaviness that felt permanent loosens slightly. The heart breathes more freely, even if it cannot say why. This is mercy doing its work in the way it always has, silently. Many hearts miss this moment because they are listening for words. Mercy rarely speaks in sentences. It speaks in sensations. Ease replaces strain. Acceptance replaces resistance. Calm replaces urgency. These changes are easy to dismiss because they are gentle. Yet gentleness is not weakness. It is precision. Loud change shocks the heart. Gentle change reshapes it. Mercy on the 15th night does not require the heart to perform. It does not demand perfect repentance, eloquent requests, or polished intentions. It moves towards sincerity, not perfection. Even a heart that feels incomplete, confused, or tired is not excluded. In fact, these states often invite mercy more readily than confidence does. This is why those who wait for dramatic forgiveness often miss gentle mercy. They are scanning for intensity, while mercy is rearranging quietly. The heart that stops scanning and starts noticing recognizes the shift. It feels less burdened, less defended, less alone. Mercy also arrives as permission. Permission to rest. Permission to not resolve everything immediately. Permission to stop carrying what cannot be fixed tonight. This permission alone releases pressure that the heart has been holding unnecessarily. Pressure lifted is mercy, even if no words are spoken. On this night, mercy does not erase responsibility. It restores balance so responsibility can be carried without collapse. The heart is not absolved of effort. It is relieved of excess strain. This distinction matters. Mercy strengthens the heart instead of disabling it. Another form of silent mercy is clarity without explanation. The heart suddenly knows what it no longer needs to hold, chase, or fear. This knowing is not argued into existence. It appears fully formed, as if it had been waiting for noise to quiet. This clarity simplifies life quietly. Simplification is mercy. Mercy also softens self-judgment. The heart that has been harsh toward itself feels a gentler inner tone. Criticism loses its sharpness. The heart does not suddenly feel perfect. It feels accepted. Acceptance restores dignity. Dignity stabilizes the heart. This silent mercy is easy to overlook the next day when routine returns. The heart may wonder whether anything really happened, yet the effects remain. Choices feel slightly clearer. Reactions feel slightly calmer. The heart feels less reactive. These are the traces of mercy at work. Mercy does not always feel emotional. Sometimes it feels practical. A burden feels lighter. A decision feels simpler. A worry feels less urgent. These shifts are not coincidences. They are the quiet fingerprints of mercy. The 15th night teaches the heart that mercy does not need to be dramatic to be real. In fact, the most enduring mercy often arrives without spectacle. Spectacle excites, silence transforms. This lesson also corrects impatience. The heart learns that not every gift announces itself immediately. Some gifts work beneath awareness, adjusting foundations rather than surfaces. Foundations changed quietly hold longer. Mercy also respects timing. It does not rush the heart into change before it is ready. It creates conditions where change becomes possible without force. This respect is itself a form of mercy. When the heart becomes sensitive to silent mercy, it begins to notice it elsewhere, in small reliefs, in gentle redirections, in moments where things did not collapse when they could have. This awareness deepens gratitude without effort. The heart that recognizes silent mercy becomes less anxious about missing something important. It trusts that what truly matters will reach it in the right form. This trust reduces strain. Reduced strain allows mercy to flow more freely. This lesson does not ask the heart to search for mercy. Searching creates tension. It asks the heart to notice. Noticing requires stillness. Stillness allows perception. On the 15th night, mercy moves like breath, essential, quiet, unnoticed until absent. The heart that notices it understands that it has been held all along. Let mercy do its work without interruption. Do not demand proof. Proof belongs to the mind. Mercy belongs to the heart. The heart knows when it has been touched. The heart often lives under the pressure of time without realizing it. It is pulled backward by regret and pushed forward by expectation. Memories linger longer than they should. Worries arrive earlier than necessary. The present moment becomes thin, almost unnoticed, because the heart is stretched between what has already passed and what has not yet arrived. This stretching creates tension, and over time that tension feels like restlessness, impatience, or quiet anxiety. The 15th night brings a gentle correction to this inner experience of time. It does not erase the past or silence the future, but it changes how much weight they carry. The heart feels time loosen its grip. Regret softens. Anticipation quiets. The present moment becomes wide enough to breathe in again. This reordering does not happen through thought. The heart is not asked to revisit its memories or plan its future differently. It simply notices that the pressure has eased. The urgency to fix yesterday or control tomorrow loses intensity. What remains is a sense of being here, now, without needing to escape or accelerate. When time is disordered inside the heart, everything feels rushed, even when nothing is happening. Stillness feels uncomfortable because it exposes inner tension. On this night, stillness feels safer. The heart can remain where it is, without immediately reaching elsewhere. This is a sign that time has been rebalanced internally. The heart also realizes how much energy has been spent carrying moments that no longer exist. Old conversations replay, missed chances echo, delayed outcomes linger. None of these can be changed now, yet the heart often keeps them active as if vigilance might undo them. The 15th night gently interrupts this habit. It shows the heart that carrying the past endlessly does not honor it. It only exhausts the present. As past weight softens, the heart feels lighter. This lightness is not denial, it is perspective returning. The heart understands that what has passed has already taught what it could. Holding it longer does not deepen wisdom, it deepens fatigue. Letting it rest restores clarity. Future anxiety also quiets on this night. The heart often rushes ahead, rehearsing possibilities, anticipating problems, and preparing defenses. This constant forward projection creates urgency without direction. On the 15th night, the heart senses that not everything needs to be decided now. Readiness replaces worry. Trust replaces anticipation. This shift is subtle but profound. The heart no longer feels late. It no longer feels behind or ahead. It feels on time. Being on time internally is one of the deepest forms of peace. It allows action when action is needed and rest when rest is appropriate. When time is reordered, guidance becomes easier to hear. Guidance lives in the present. A heart trapped in the past or future struggles to receive it. By returning the heart to now, The 15th night restores access to clarity that was always available but rarely felt. This reordering also changes patience. Patience is no longer forced. It becomes natural because the heart is no longer fighting time. Waiting does not feel like loss. It feels like alignment. The heart understands that movement will come when it is meant to, not when anxiety demands it. Another sign of this inner shift is the softening of regret's voice. Regret may still exist, but it no longer dominates. It becomes informative rather than accusatory. The heart learns from it without being controlled by it. Learning without punishment restores dignity. Time reordering also reduces comparison. Comparison thrives when the heart measures itself against imagined timelines. When those timelines lose authority, comparison fades. The heart focuses on its own rhythm rather than borrowed schedules. This focus restores confidence quietly. The 15th night teaches that time inside the heart is more influential than time on the clock. A heart at peace with time moves wisely even when circumstances are slow. A heart in conflict with time feels pressured even when life is calm. This lesson is not about ignoring responsibilities or deadlines. It is about removing unnecessary inner urgency. Urgency clouds judgment. Calm sharpens it. When urgency fades, decisions improve without extra effort. The heart that experiences this reordering often notices a deeper sense of trust. Trust that what is unfolding does not require constant supervision. Trust that missed moments do not define the future. Trust that presence is enough for now. As this trust grows, the heart feels less fragmented. Past, present, and future no longer compete for attention. They settle into their proper places. The present becomes the meeting point where clarity exists. This does not mean the heart becomes passive. It becomes grounded. Grounded hearts act more effectively because they are not rushed by fear or regret. Action taken from grounding feels clean and deliberate. The 15th night offers this correction quietly because the heart cannot be forced out of its relationship with time. It must feel safe enough to release control. Safety allows surrender. Surrender restores balance. When time is reordered inside the heart, rest becomes possible without guilt. The heart understands that rest is not delay, it is preparation. Preparation that is calm is more effective than preparation driven by panic. This lesson often leaves a lasting trace. Even days later, the heart may notice less urgency, less mental noise, and more patience with unfolding events. These are signs that time has been placed back into harmony. Let this reordering happen without interference. Do not rush to label it or test it. Simply notice whether the present feels more spacious. That spaciousness is the heart returning to its proper relationship with time. The 15th night is not bound by calendars, dates, or the movement of the moon alone. Its true nature is not temporal, but internal. It appears whenever the heart reaches a midpoint, a place between what has been lived and what is about to begin. This is why some hearts feel its presence strongly, while others pass through the same night unchanged. The night does not choose, readiness does. A turning point is not always dramatic. Often it arrives quietly, disguised as fatigue, questioning, or a subtle dissatisfaction that cannot be explained. The heart senses that something cannot continue as it has, yet it does not yet know what must change. This in-between state is uncomfortable because it lacks certainty. The 15th night mirrors this state perfectly. It holds the heart in suspension long enough for awareness to emerge. When the heart reaches such a midpoint, noise begins to lose its hold. Distractions feel less convincing. Old motivations weaken. What once pushed the heart forward no longer carries the same force. This is not loss of purpose. It is refinement of direction. The night returns in these moments to assist the heart in recalibration. This is why the 15th night feels familiar, even when it is not recognized consciously. The heart has met it before in moments of inner pause, moments when striving stalled, moments when answers did not come but clarity slowly formed. Each of these moments carried the same signature: stillness without emptiness, quiet without confusion. The night repeats whenever awareness interrupts habit. Habit keeps the heart moving automatically. Awareness stops that movement gently. When awareness appears, the heart sees itself mid-motion. Seeing itself changes the motion naturally. The night does not push change, it allows it. Many people believe turning points must be marked by decisive actions or major events. In truth, most turning points occur internally long before anything changes outwardly. The 15th night belongs to these internal shifts. It prepares the heart before life rearranges itself. At these moments, the heart often feels vulnerable. Vulnerability here is not weakness, it is openness created by transition. The heart has loosened its grip on the old, but has not yet grasped the new. The night arrives to hold this openness safely, preventing the heart from rushing back into habit out of fear. This is why the night feels protective rather than demanding. It does not insist on immediate decisions. It gives the heart permission to remain undecided without panic. This permission is rare. Most of life pressures the heart to resolve, conclude, and choose quickly. The 15th night suspends that pressure. The repetition of this night also teaches the heart something essential. Guidance does not arrive only once. It arrives whenever the heart is willing to pause. This understanding removes fear of missing out. The heart no longer worries that it missed a single moment forever. It trusts that turning points will be accompanied again when readiness returns. Each time the night repeats, the heart becomes more skilled at recognizing it. The pause feels familiar. The stillness feels trustworthy. The heart does not panic as easily. It allows the process to unfold. Experience builds confidence. The 15th night also marks the moment where identity begins to loosen. The heart notices that it is no longer who it was, yet not fully who it is becoming. This space between identities feels fragile. The night stabilizes it. It reminds the heart that becoming takes time, and time does not need to be forced. In this space, sincerity deepens. The heart stops performing for outcomes. It listens more carefully to its inner state. Listening refines intention. Refined intention shapes future action with greater precision. The night repeats not because the lesson was forgotten, but because life moves in cycles. Each cycle brings a new midpoint. Each midpoint requires recalibration. The heart grows by passing through these midpoints repeatedly, each time with slightly more awareness. This repetition also removes the myth of final arrival. The heart learns that there is no permanent state of completion. There is only continual adjustment. Adjustment is not instability, it is responsiveness. Responsive hearts remain alive. When the heart understands that the 15th night returns at every genuine turning point, it becomes less afraid of change. Change no longer feels like loss. It feels like movement within guidance. Guidance does not disappear between moments. It waits. This lesson completes the pattern of the night. It shows that the secret was never about a single evening. It was about recognizing when the heart stands at a threshold. Thresholds are sacred not because they are rare, but because they require presence to cross well. Let the heart rest in this understanding. You do not need to hold on to the night. It will return whenever you reach another midpoint honestly. The heart does not need to chase guidance. Guidance meets the heart where awareness pauses. This is why the night leaves quietly. It does not need to stay. Its work is complete the moment the heart understands how to recognize it again. The 15th night was never a memory. It is a pattern the heart learns to trust. As this night passes, do not search for proof that something has changed. The heart does not always announce its shifts. Sometimes it simply breathes easier. Sometimes it lets go of what it no longer needs to carry. Trust these small movements. They are not accidental. They are the signs of alignment returning quietly. Let the stillness complete its work without interruption. What was meant to settle has already begun. When the heart is ready to move again, it will do so with greater clarity, lighter weight, and steadier trust. Until then, allow the silence to hold you.